Hi, my name is Bethany Ellis, and I have helped to create the game called Saving the Pit. Saving the Pit is based off of the TV show called Parks and Rec, and the purpose of the game is to help Leslie, who is the main character of the show, to navigate through the Pawnee city office. And you're going to meet with the different characters of the show and complete tasks to obtain objects that will help you to eventually defeat Councilman Jam and fill the pit, which is your ultimate goal. And it's meant to be silly and funny, and that's basically the purpose of the game. So to start, the difference between static class variable and a non-static class variable is that a non-static class must be used to create their own instance, or it must be created as their own instance to be used, whereas a static class does not need that, and it's created as like a calculator function. So for example, something down here called the calc amount of dirt. This is a calculator function, and so it can be used by just calling and completing this task. And so the difference between an array list, and an enum is, so an array is something like this with the Boolean. And the reason why this is an array is because they can be changed during an execution. All of the objects in the list, in an array list, must be of the same type. And it is one of the most basic of the languages, whereas an array list can contain different types of objects. It can also be removed and added to, but it has different objects, whereas an array has all of the same objects in it. And an enum, for example, like right here, this list is a fixed list, meaning you can't change them, and it's constant. So these are all different types of enums, or this is an example of an enum list of objects. So an example of a for list, or a for function. So the for loop, the purpose of a for loop is, for example, in the show map section, the for loop would run the code for each column and row until it has gone through each row and column in combination to run, test, and print this function. So for example, this is going to run the map, and based on what different characters are beside the section of the map, will let the user know which places have been visited, which places need to be visited, and which place you're currently visiting. And so that's the purpose of the for loop. It's just to continue running until it has been completed. An example of a throw catch is like in here. So we've created an exceptions, and this section of code will basically run when it is called right here in the throw. So it's calculating this function, and if the first part of the function passes, it will run to the next one, and if that passes, then it will just continue with the calculation and then return the volume. However, if it doesn't pass, it's going to throw a function, or it's going to throw this calculation, this set of code, so that it actually spits out something that's useful to the user instead of spitting out a bunch of mumbo jumbo that nobody understands. And the last part that I'm going to explain is, oh, sorry. A byte is something that only works in certain languages. It's an 8-character code of ones and zeros, and it's what the computer sees. So for like the letter K, it's just 01, 001, 011, and it's really confusing and just really, really hard to use. It's not really something that a lot of people would want to use, but it's easy for computers to read because it's just basic and it runs a code basically. So an example of how to write a character data to an external file is like with this part. We've written this code right here in the Saving the Pit section, and we've specified a path, and then we ran it in another section, and this is where it's actually going to print the code to the file. And I think that's all that I need to explain. This has been a really fun class, a really challenging class, and I'm grateful for what I've learned, and hope that I can apply it to things that I do in the future. Thanks.